What's going on? We are here talking about CJ Stroud. And is he a bad quarterback? Let's talk about that. So, CJ Stroud is in his third year of his career. He looked fantastic in his rookie year, looked like a top five quarterback in the NFL. But he's been on a downward trajectory since then. Last year, he threw about 20 touchdowns, 15 picks, had like a QBR around 50. So, not great. Definitely not good, good numbers by any means. This year, he's off to a worse start. He's only thrown 2 touchdowns, has thrown 3 interceptions already through 3 games, and he has a QBR of 40, and his team is 0-3. So what is the problem with CJ Stroud? Why has he just fallen off? And I think there is a couple major cues on why he is so bad now compared to what he used to be. I don't think it's necessarily CJ Stroud himself. I think it's partially due to his O-line. I mean, last year he was the second most sacked quarterback in the league. He took, I think, about 20 more sacks than he did in his rookie year, which that stuff starts adding up when you take 50-plus sacks a season. That's not good. You know, Caleb Williams was the only guy sacked more, and we see how he is. He panics. He's finicky and stuff about getting hit. So I think that starts playing a role into what CJ Stroud is becoming, because taking that many hits is bad. And this year, he is about tied for the sixth most with Tua. And every quarterback except for one ahead of him in sacks this year are all bad, or at least on bad teams that are not winning many games because their quarterbacks aren't playing great. The one that is Justin Herbert, but honestly, Herbert's dropping back 3 times as much as he usually does, especially in Harbaugh's system, and he's just managing to win games either way. So with that being said, what makes a difference here with the O-line? And obviously his rookie year, he had Larry Tunzel and a few other solid pieces. A lot of those have moved on. They traded Tunzel away to Washington at the start of this year. So you lose that production, and also their line just isn't obviously very good. And that starts affecting a quarterback, you know, the mental capacity of taking all them hits. I mean, that's what ended their first ever draft pick in David Carr was getting sacked like 60 times a year. That stuff starts adding up. You start playing bad. You start getting finicky. You start making rush passes, bad passes. You're not getting passes out because you're getting sacked a lot. That is part of the problem. Let's talk about the receiving core. I think the receiving core is also part of the problem. Obviously, Nico Collins is great, but outside of him, what is there? There's Dalton Schultz playing tight end, which is a very solid tight end and gives you a very solid person to put out there and catch some balls, but realistically, it's not a great receiving core. Outside of those two, there's almost nobody notable in there. Wide receiving core, tight end, whatever. They're just kind of bad after that. It's a bunch of, they're in the NFL, so they're known players, but they're like, Hutchinson or something like that. It's just, they're not top tier players. They're not making a massive difference and pushing the needle farther along. And I think that is honestly part of the issue, but I don't think it's that big of an issue. Having a receiver like Nico Collins is better than what some quarterbacks who are putting up better stats than Stroud has. Also, Dalton Schultz is very solid tight end. So I don't believe the receiving core is the biggest problem. I think it's kind of just there. It's kind of in the mix. Something you got to look at. The receiving core isn't the greatest. Definitely has gone downhill last year. I mean, Tank Dell's obviously out with his torn ACL, but they also had Stephon Diggs at the start of the year, and he looked better at the start than he did at the end. And Diggs and Tank Dell both went down, losing some of those top tier receivers or solid number twos in like Dell. It is hard losses. But the biggest issue, I think, this year, now obviously this didn't affect him as much last year, but they have no run game whatsoever. Their run game is complete dog water. They have Nick Chubb, I love Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's one of my favorite players in the NFL, but he's not recovered from that leg injury like he should have. He's got about 141 yards rushing. He's 60 more than CJ Stroud. So it's kind of a similar situation that we've seen the Kansas City Chiefs be in over the last couple weeks, where they don't got a run game and the quarterback's got to do it all. And unlike Patrick Mahomes, who actually finally did manage to win a game, CJ Stroud is no Patrick Mahomes. And I think that is probably the biggest thing that's affecting them. I mean, they've averaged like 40 yards a carry. And I mean, you got a defense that's only given up 20 points. I think the most amount of points that their defense gave up is to Tampa Bay. They gave up 20 points. And you can't get any type of run game going. Your pass game's not going to get going. I mean, you look at all the best teams in the league. All the best teams have good running backs behind them. And they just don't right now, honestly. That is a big problem. Losing Joe Mixon is a huge loss, Because Joe Mixon last year, he broke 1,000 yards. He averaged like 4.6 yards a carry, which is very solid numbers. Nothing crazy, not breaking the stat sheet, but very solid numbers. Like, you know, a good running back season is breaking 1,000 yards and averaging over 4.0 yards a carry. So very good, solid season from Joe Mixon. Now this year, they're gonna probably get like 800 yards max out of their running backs, like combined, and that is honestly the biggest issue. You need a good run game, and they don't have a good run game. But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think it's CJ Stroud? Do you think it's the run game, the receivers, the O-line? Coaching, maybe even. I didn't even talk about coaching in this video. I think their coaching's fine, but it could be coaching. It could be offensive coordinator type stuff. I don't know who the OC is, to be honest. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoy this type of content, please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. I'll see you guys